Hello and welcome. My name is Angela, and I'm just popping in today because I felt called to share the strong themes of death and rebirth coming up astrologically and also supported by several consultations. First, one I made with the I Ching and also with several oracle decks. So, as the sun comes to join Pluto in what reveals to be a death and rebirth moment of our identity, what is being asked of us both individually and collectively? Now, after consulting the I Ching, I drew the third hexagram, which shifted into the 49th. And I'm going to draw inspiration from Richard Rudd's Gene Keys book, just to get a sense of what is being asked for us from us in this moment. So the third gene key suggests we are at an evolutionary fork between chaos and cosmos. The third gene key's shadow is about control and disorder. When we feel overwhelmed by the chaos around us, especially when we don't own our own fear. Interestingly, this correlates to the recent nodal shift into Pisces Virgo. This moment is asking us to release control and look at life through the eyes of a child. It is about recognizing that life is supportive even when things don't look that way, at least in the beginning. The current scientific paradigm tells us that our nature is predetermined by our genes and therefore we become victims of chance. And this current understanding extends to the structure of a single cell, which is that the brain of the cell is held in the nucleus where the genetic instructions for life also reside. The thinking that follows is that if the brain is in the nucleus and the nucleus contains the instructions, then the instructions control the cell and therefore us. A new quantum biology challenges this notion. The brain of the cell doesn't reside in the nucleus but in the cellular membrane, which provides an interface with the environment. Life is actually designed to be cooperative rather than competitive. This emerging biological view makes more sense alongside quantum physics, since all of life is interrelated and holistic rather than separatist. In the old view, humans are victims of their selfish genes. In the new view, there are no victims, only a huge, interconnected, and interdependent cosmos. So, difficulty at the beginning, which is the third hexagram. Chaos is about beginnings, the initial conditions within a system. Chaos also conceals a hidden pattern that inevitably leads to order. The fear that there exists no organizing principle in the universe other than chance has developed a very deep sense of fear within human beings. The third shadow is what makes humans afraid to change, even though we are wired to change. In order to evolve, humans need to embrace chaos rather than protect against it. This shadow causes humans to distrust life, and it leads to a dog eat dog mentality. The greatest magic is revealed to us when we allow our environment to change us rather than controlling the environment in order to stay the same. So the third hexagram shifts to the 49th hexagram, revolution. I'm just going to read the last section on the 49th gene key. As this city dawns, a new civilization will be built as the old one begins to crumble. Two types of human beings will coexist, and both will live from a totally different awareness. The old genetic fractal will still live from fear, so they will doubtless fear the changes all around them. One can see the early form of this pattern occurring in the world even now. If all this is really the case, you may wonder, what are we to do as individuals? If such a rebirth is really on the cusp of occurring, And if the future is already genetically predetermined by a collective evolutionary urge, then does it matter what we each do at all? If even the most revolutionary of all impulses cannot fix the current world, then what is the purpose of following our gifts? In many ways, this is one of the biggest questions posed by this book. The answer is as simple as it is profound. This evolutionary leap into a whole new way of functioning depends upon us following our gifts. If we cannot create the waves of the new revolution at all levels of society, then the rebirth that takes place at the zenith of consciousness in the realm of the cities cannot take place. The rebirth is the organic flowering of the revolution. Just because we cannot fix the world as it is doesn't mean that we cannot make the world a better place. Our vision of the perfect future is precisely what creates the necessary frequency shift that will trigger the genetic forking of our species. It will happen because it must happen, and we must still create that happening. This is the paradox. So if the theme of death and rebirth wasn't emphasized enough from the current Pluto-Sun conjunction or the I Ching and Gene Key description, here are some more cards I pulled for this moment. The bat symbolizes rebirth. The bat embraces the idea of the shamanistic or ritualistic death, where we break down all notions of the former self or identity, sun. We may be being asked to let go of some way of life that no longer suits our growth pattern. Rue or Ruta graveolens, also represented by Sun and Pluto. Rue is a herb of protection, known as the herb of grace or to set free. Rue has landed in your cards today to remind you to protect your aura from lurking or possessive spirits that might be consuming your energy. This can be in the form of self-criticism, self-doubt, or self-hatred. Call on Rue to shield your body with angelic forces and restore radiance, vitality, and love in your atmosphere. I don't have Rue, but I do have rosemary, which is a herb also used for protection and has sun rulership. So you may want to do a smoke cleanse, or if you have rosemary essential oil, you can diffuse it or put it in a carrier oil to massage on your body. You may even want to make rosemary tea, or you may have another herb that is your go-to for protection. The bush iris, the next card, deals with issues around death, mortality, atheism. Bush iris supports awakening of spirituality and acceptance of death as a transition state. It also clears the blocks to the base chakra and trust center. And lastly, lichen. It deals with letting go and releasing. So the message is pretty clear with so many themes around death and rebirth. We are being asked to release the need to control out of fear, Virgo, and to surrender, Pisces, old ways of being, old identities, Sun, allowing them to die off, Pluto, in order to embrace the changes ahead. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you, and may these wisdom teachers help us navigate these internal and external activations so that we can create the kind of world we would all like to live in and feel safe and held within. Thank you, and until next time.